next bullet point is living the law of addition. And if you can't give some evidence of making things better for your people, then you are probably a subtractor. Do you believe that? Is that true? Is that false? And if, like, why? Why would that be true or why would that be false? If there's not some evidence of making things better for your people, then you're probably subtracting from your people. What do you think? Fully believe it? Is it accurate 100% of the time? Is there room for leeway?
Kind of the point that I was making. I am subtracting. I am a subtractor when
I would say subtraction is inevitable. I don't know necessarily that would be occurring.
Robert's here now. Everybody sit back.
It's my wife's fault. My wife spent too much time in the
See,
bathroom.
he's subtracting right now. Now, the subtractor, being the subtractor is
Yes.
inevitable.
I dress sharp. Yes.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, squirrel. Yep. If you're not, okay, I'll put it Tony Evans. Tony Evans would say it like this: if you're not growing, you're idle, and if you're idle, you're bound to start losing something at some point or another.
How about in dealing with other people? Like people around you, people that if there's no, well, I mean, take what you do, for instance, right? Your chaplaincy and talking to these inmates, and do you feel that if there's no evidence that you're making things better for those people, does that mean then that you are subtracting from those people? Like
I think I do it myself, personally. If I'm with a guy and
this is being recorded.
to a point, yes, I don't hide. Every inmate that knows me don't feel too bad about what I'm about to say. If I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere with a person, just take the jail, there's 269 other men in that jail. So, this might sound terrible, but why waste my time?
Yeah.
Not terrible. I mean, you can't positively influence everybody.
For example, I just saw a guy last week, and I don't know really what I could do with him.
Right.
Right. Not that I know things that I can pump into him, but I don't think he has absorbed what's about to happen to him yet.
Right.
And really until that happens and he's came to some sort of acknowledgement of what's coming to his doorstep, whatever I've got to tell him is going to have probably little meaning at all. So, I know his name. I know he's going to be locked up for a while. Maybe a year down the road, I can come back and that's a door I can re-explore maybe.
Sure.
But
When he's ready.
I feel like if I stay with them, I'm subtracting from somebody else.
Yeah.
Or subtracting opportunity with somebody else, or maybe 2 or 3 different people.
Right.
sometimes the kettle needs to steep.
Yeah, it needs to. It needs to pull stuff to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Timing is very important in everything.
The part of idleness, I don't doubt applies to a lot in life. Oh, that's for you, by the way. Yeah.
Thanks.
I thought you would really like that, and John wanted one. so far, so, yeah. Sunday's the most segregated day of the week, and as you can see, there's a bunch of white folks in here right now, that's it. Yeah, so, maybe I have a black audience, you know, I don't know.
Not on purpose.
Yeah.
How do we get a more diverse church?
90% of all people who subtract do so unintentionally.
I would agree with that,
So,
yeah, especially with church world.
I think so too. I think there's so many people.
Good intentions, but
Yes.
I mean, I had that happen to me yesterday. Situation I had to walk away from. Just had to leave.
Do you want to share?
I like that, just had to leave. That sound like a Western.
Were
right there.
they unintentionally subtracting?
Well, they weren't adding to. I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't helping me. I spent the night before. Greg had an event, you know, out at helping the block parties every Wednesday,
Okay.
running the sound and other stuff. And I spent the day before almost the whole day setting up the sound system, and, you know, making wires up and getting everything ready to go. And then I run the first set, and then the second set, someone was singing the tracks, and this individual's relation came up, and you know, I was working on things trying, you know, because there was some squealing going on and other stuff. You know, you just got a vocal mic singing music, so it's a little bit different than when you got drums and other stuff going on, adding to the mix. But I was, you know, so this other individual comes up and it kind of takes over, and I kind of felt like I was pushed out of the way, and it upset me because I spent the whole night. I set the system up. I'm the one.
It wouldn't have been there for him. Yeah.
So
And
I just had to walk away. And
you
I
knew all the intricacies
Yeah.
that went into
Yeah.
and knew what probably was happening, and
Yeah,
you just
I mean-
needed to get to it.
Yeah. I mean, I was working my way to different things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not fast enough for this person, but
Yeah.
so I just had to just leave.
Walk away. Yeah.
Well, I ended up leaving Greg hanging because I thought he was going to finish up the show. I mean, he wanted to run the board, so let him run the board.
Yeah.
And then he left later on. Like, you can't do that. You can't just walk up and take over and
Then leave. Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he wasn't having two.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't think the sound was that great when he was mixing. I mean, he was okay, but
Yeah.
he was covering up the vocals, and that's the whole point of it.
Oh, I hate
Yeah.
that.
If you can't hear the vocals, then what's the
Right.
point of mixing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The music's there to add to, and give melody.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
The words is the message.
it's like a
Yes.
huge frame for an itty bitty picture.
Yeah.
Talking about a
Yeah.
bad singer here, I mean, I can understand that.
Well, yeah.
If I was singer there, my wife would drown me out. I mean, I'll
Well, in that, I just read the next point, and it leads right into it. When a leader subtracts, it doesn't change his ways. He goes from subtracting to division. So, that may not describe this to a T, but it does describe when you start subtracting, you start dividing. Because, like I said, they rush in, they start subtracting from the moment.
Yeah.
Well, then after it's taken its course, then it's divided because now no one's left to do anything. So it starts dividing, and two, again, this goes into the law of the lid. For me, when you're following a leader, or you are the leader that's only a 7, and you've got someone who's an 8 that keeps doing this, this 7 is subtracting from this person, and eventually this person divides. Because you only hit your head so many times before you either just give up on everything, and some people do that, or you move on. So, and again, people, it seems that most people do not live on purpose. So it's like, so when it says 90% of all people who subtract do so unintentionally, I think it's very accurate because they don't have a purposeful life.
They're just living day to day and dealing with what comes at the moment.
Yes. There's no intention. No intentional living. You know? Mm-hmm. In contrast, 90% of all people who add value do so intentionally. See? Mm-hmm. And that's so true, because when you recognize who you are, what you have to offer, the bigger scope of the kingdom, how you fit in the kingdom, you're bold enough to recognize you are someone that adds value, but you're humble enough to recognize you're only one small piece of the puzzle. Everything you do then becomes intentional. Every step you take is an intentional step forward. Either it's all growth. I'm either choosing to grow financially, I'm choosing to grow in this relationship, I'm choosing to grow in my leadership, I'm choosing to grow as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a wife. Every step you take then starts becoming intentional because you recognize who you are and you recognize the bigger scope, and that it takes all these pieces to come together, and you're only one piece. So, and it's because human beings are naturally selfish. So, to add value requires us to get out of our comfort zones. Many times it requires us to get out of our comfort zones because our human nature, it's about me.
Yeah, that makes me think of a saying that Ethan has coined. I don't know if I've told you before, but Ethan says there is no such thing as a comfortable Christian. If you're really a Christian, that means that you're living selflessly.
Yeah. And there is a continual challenge.
Mm-hmm.
There is a continual challenge.
Paul says, I die daily.
Yeah.
That is not comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then because of, when you're subtracting from how subtraction leads to division, when you begin adding, it multiplies.
Yeah.
So
because it becomes contagious.
Yes, exactly. And again, many times I go back to where Paul told Timothy, teach able people. So I'm going to add value to able people who are then able to teach others also. So Paul's saying, I feed into you, Timothy, and I'm feeding into 5 other guys over here. All 6 of you are able to teach others. Now, if all 6 of you teach 6 more, then Paul's life, Paul's intentionality just multiplied. Mm-hmm. 6 times 6, into 36 others that he didn't even directly contact. So when you begin to add value, it begins to multiply the impact. And all we have to do, you think of, look at Jesus, okay? When he reached that point of ministry where he was going to lead 12 disciples, okay? There's a chosen 12 that he poured into. Each one of them impacted someone in one way or the other. Then they multiplied. Until, over here across the ocean, we're here in America with the gospel of Jesus Christ. Because it started over there with Jesus. So it begins to multiply throughout the earth. So, the benefits of adding value and serving others. 1, it benefits those being served. That's an obvious. Serving, it is fulfilling. When you put in a good effort. I mean, it feels good. It just, I don't, it's just the way it builds momentum in us. And then that then allows us to lead with the right motives. Because we see who we are. Again, it's back to acknowledging who we are, acknowledging the bigger picture. You know, we're one small portion. So that we keep that in mind, and it gives us the right motives. And it develops a leadership culture and a leadership team. So everybody involved starts to feel a part of something bigger than themselves.
Something I might add too, and it would probably be a part of number 2, is that it gives us a sense of purpose.
Yes, right.
A reason to be here on earth.
Exactly. And again, go back to how so many people live unintentionally. It's because they don't have that purpose. They don't recognize their purpose. They don't recognize this is what I'm here for. They don't have that moment, you know. And so then that's just a ripple effect of, you know, so they're hopeless because they have no purpose. Because they're hopeless, it leads to depression, it leads to mental issues, it leads to drug addictions, sexual addictions, broken relationships. The list goes on and on and on until, have you ever, I do this, okay? I do this, it's not, part of it is judgmental, but not in like a bad way. It's kind of, you see the fruit for what it is. But you see people, they're physically broken down. You know, they're 30 and look like they're 40, 45, 50. They're unkept. They're careless in their social mannerisms. You know.
That's so cool.
You like that?
Yeah. That's definitely going in.
So, and they're careless in their social interactions, and you know, sometimes they're dragging a kid around, you know, and you just watch them, and I do this. I go, how did you get there? Like, is this all you've known? You know? Is this the only life you've known? And so to you it's normal? And then I think, when you see other people around you not living that way, like, do you see that the way you live is not, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you, and it's like, how does that, how do people get there? You know, this total no purpose, no self-worth, no hope.
That's a lot of it right there.
And just existing.
Having no hope.
It's like, why try? Maybe that's it. Why try? I don't care if my hair is a mess. I don't care if I'm wearing my pajamas. You know, I don't care. And that's what some people say. I don't care what you guys think about me. Sometimes I think it's more of a defense mechanism than it truly is an I don't care. Sometimes. But then I think sometimes you do. You probably get to the point where you truly don't care.
Okay, this might sound silly.
Not for me.
Yeah, not for me. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah. I think for whatever the reason, okay, maybe it seems like a lot of people, and I've heard this statement from others, particularly the ministers, a lot of people have a hard time starting small, something common and small, and then
And sticking with it.
forward. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Americans have this appeal, particularly. Now, a lot of what they were specifically talking about, David Platt, Francis Chan talked about this. They were particularly talking about the church culture and how, particularly, they've noticed that we like to make grand statements and things have to be a big bang all the time, and it's gotta.
You always gotta have
It's
a
got to be
program.
big news or something, or it's like it doesn't have value to it. Okay, so I think it's something, just a little something I do that is something very easy to do that reminds me just to focus on commitment and
You know what, when you said that,
dealing with little.
I thought of a song.
You did? Which one?
Always something there to
Hey, there you go. 80s all the way, you know. I'm an 80s baby, so. Hey, I brag about the 80s pretty often. Just because I was born.
Yeah.
But I picked out a gas station. You know, when we lived in Pennsville, I went to the pack set.
Yeah.
Primarily the Albany pack set. Because it was a good medium place for the Bluffton pack set. You know, that's the gas station I went to for gas,
Yeah.
get my coffee, whatever. That's where I went to. And
I
you
think
know
I
what?
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I walked in, they knew me by name, I knew who they were. I mean, it was just, there was this bond in there.
Yep.
But it was something small and easy
Yep.
to just build a repertoire and a commitment to something.
Yep.
When you
Yep.
gave me your place, I started going to the Speedway on Memorial, particularly that Speedway down on Memorial.
Yep.
And wow, within a couple of months, it's the same thing. When I don't go in there and have the kid, they want to know where the kid's at.
Yeah.
Where's the little man at? You know, he brags about his frosty. He can get there.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
that seems
Yeah.
might seem very silly to a lot of people. I don't know, but I see a lot of value to that.
I used to, now, I guess I do it now more out of habit, but when I lived up here, I remember, I did the same thing. It was like, that's my store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because you do, it's about building a relationship with people. And it's good for you. It's good for them. And it starts small
Yeah.
and builds. It's day by day, little by little.
Yeah.
You build that relationship with people.
Yeah.
It's a purposeful, intentional purpose building a relationship.
And you,
Yeah.
it literally does open up stuff.
Oh, it
They
does.
start asking me
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm involved in, what do I do, what's
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife do, et cetera, et cetera. So they get to learn about
Yeah.
what I'm involved with, and then they're telling me what they do.
Yeah.
One was a school bus driver,
Yeah.
older lady, about your height, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually
That's
her.
right.
The school bus driving's more of a second job.
Yeah,
for her. But
Yeah.
her and the kid had a blast. One guy works at the Youth Opportunity Center.
Okay.
Big, cool black fella, cool brother, you know.
I found most people that work at with young people, like at youth detentions, they're usually pretty cool people.
Yeah. He is. He's a nice fella. Big black brother. I like him.
Yeah. No, and again, that's intentional living. That's community. That's, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you see him out on the street and they need help, you can help them. Or if you need help, will stop and help you.
Yeah.
You know,
It's creating a bond.
because it creates the bond. It does. It does. It's like one time, at the Village Pantry, I had forgotten my wallet or something, or I forget what I did. Anyways, I owed them money, and they were like, you know, just bring it back, you know, because they knew I would be back.
They were in a hurry to call cops.
You know, yeah, you know, they just trusted. Okay, hey, no problem.
The next time you're in, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Action, packs
But that's community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's community. Now, I'm not talking about the time that you filled up and ran off.
No,
Oh, okay. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know.
This was after.
So, and then here's another big one. And this, man, there are so many people. There's Christians need to, church-going Christians, you know, that are living the culture of church, need to get this next big. You don't need a title to serve.
Mm.
You add value by valuing others. We add value when we make ourselves more valuable. We add value to others when we know and relate to what others value. And we add value to others when we do the things God values. And the more influence you have, the greater impact you have on others, for better or for worse. So you want to add value, not take it away. And the church, I grew up in the church culture, so it was all about what title I could have, you know. And there's this culture that there are many. It's amazing. Now there are some people who just jump in and just start doing. But there are many people that are talented, capable, but they will not do anything unless they're asked or given a title to do it. And then when they're not asked, they'll sit around and mope and complain because you didn't give them something.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't make them something. And it's like, really? Because if you're that kind of person that I have to give you a title before you'll add value, you're not the kind of person I want to give a title to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know.
And then when you give them a title,
Then they leave.
it's only a couple of months where you're like, crap, I wish I wouldn't have put them in position, because it's a lot harder to take people out than put people in.
And I think that it's unfortunate that so many church-going Christians, they have embraced a passion for what they claim to be.
Sure.
Because when you really think about it, we all have a title.
Yes.
We all, if we are truly God's children, we are children of the King.
Right.
That is our title.
Right.
And so it's like, why does it matter if you have a title that man gives you?
Right.
What does that mean? What value is there in that?
Right. Exactly.
When you already possess a title from the Lord God Almighty.
Right.
Well, your talents are worth more value than any title. What you can do
Exactly.
and provide is more value than
Right.
a name behind your name.
Exactly.
Right. Very true.
There's a lot of people with titles that people don't listen to, don't want to listen to, can't stand, because they're not good leaders. They just have a title.
Yeah. And I'd like to add on number 2, we add value when we make ourselves more valuable and more available.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily our abilities
Right.
that make or break us in God's kingdom. It's our
Well,
availability.
If you, that, that'd have been a good one on camera.
I could tear that.
The next, exactly.
Yeah.
The next, or the chapter in the book, the Costco CEO,
I went by there yesterday.
chose,
Didn't go in, but
went by,
I didn't know there was one there.
he chooses to add value to his employees. Not because of who he is, not because of his title, it's because of who he is. He's built a environment of adding value. And it's like even when the one fella, some other state, somewhere else, that worked for his company was in the hospital. You know, he went and visited just to spend time with him. You know, he walks through the Costco's. He visits at least one every year and walks through, says hi to everybody. Open door policy, takes a still, you know, makes decent money, but takes a very subpar CEO salary, you know, because he chooses to add value. His life is more valuable than, he recognizes his life is more valuable by serving. So, I think
Yeah, it was
that's
pretty interesting
cool.
about him.
Yeah.
Very shocking.
I think that
Yeah, I know. It does. It kind of makes you want to
Yeah.
check it out. Yeah.
you think we're even as children, I'm not talking in the church, I'm talking in society, indoctrinated with the idea of having to have a title to serve people.
Well, I think it definitely starts in the culture you grew up in. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It's not.
It's
You brought specifically the church,
Yeah.
but even outside of church,
Oh, yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
society
yes.
in general
Yes.
indoctrinates.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. Well, think about you know, XYZ neighborhood. When something goes wrong in the neighborhood, they don't say, "Hey, how can we fix this?" They say, "What's the government going to do about it?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because they have the title,
right.
right? So what are they going to do about it?
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
well, I see this with what I'm doing. Communities tend to often blame,
Yes.
well, it's the police force's fault because they're
Yes.
not tackling everybody and throwing them in jail.
Right.
And the police force
Right.
is like, we've got 40 guys.
Right.
Well,
Okay,
and
we can't arrest everybody that's breaking the law in the community. Why don't you do something to change the community atmosphere
Sure.
that you're within?
Right. Change the culture.
Yeah.
You're in the culture.
Yeah.
You're in the neighborhood. You're leading that neighborhood.
well, and two, you know, so many people, families, parents say, well, my child got this D or F. It must be the teacher's fault.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I think a lot of people, because it's been so indoctrinated into our society that college is a must-have.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
having that degree is so not just important; it's essential.
It's like high school diploma.
Yeah, it's became like you have, yeah,
Yeah, you have
But-
to.
and it's really not that way.
And because you're right, it isn't.
It just
but
depends on your field.
Because it is that way, so many people think, I don't have a degree, I don't qualify.
Right.
Therefore, I better
Right.
just leave it to the important people. I need to just, I don't know what I'm doing because I don't have any
Right. Right.
of that qualifying stuff.
Well, then there's a culture, you know, the mindset from the other side, well, you don't have a degree, you're not qualified.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They think that if you don't have a degree,
Yeah.
it's not even worth considering.
Yep. Exactly right.
I've seen so many people with degrees that ain't worth a.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. And I tell you what, it is the more as our society continues to move along, we're seeing more and more and more that some of these paradigms are crumbling. Because look at how many people have college degrees that can't get anything done, that can't find a job, that lack skill.
Because they want men in an apprenticeship.
Exactly.
Show them how to do the job
Exactly.
the right way. They think they got a college degree. Oh, I'm qualified.
Yeah.
I've been to
Yes.
school.
Yes.
They
Yes.
might have an IQ, but they don't
Yes.
have an EQ.
Everything is
Emotional
shifting.
quotient is-
So it's kind of on the subject, off subject, but we've entered a new era of world history. I mean, we live in a very, in world history, you read about those moments that spanned a few years where culture entirely shifted. Entirely shifted. There was different events, different occurrences where world history shifted, and then you had so many years of under that shift until
The next
all of a sudden you start seeing little things until shift again. We have shifted. We've been seeing it, and then we shifted. And now we live in an entirely where if you choose to live under the old paradigms, you cannot succeed to your full potential in this shift. I think that goes for business, that goes for the church, that goes for government, it goes for everything. If you cannot recognize that the world has changed, then you will continue to beat your head against the wall out of frustration because you're trying to excel, succeed, and progress and produce based on old paradigms that don't work today. Now, I don't know what to do with that yet, but I do know that my life, I've felt it coming over the years, and I keep trying to go back to the old paradigm, And I've reached this point where I'm like, okay, I have to change my thinking, I have to be open to this new culture under the guidance of the Spirit of God, and truly we're in uncharted territory. We have entered, we're not heading into. And I think this is where many people are going to get frustrated across the board. Christians, non-Christians, just across the board. People are going to get frustrated because they don't see that we have entered a new territory. We're not headed there. We've entered it. And so it's going to be vital. And I think you guys were up in the Wednesday night, but we have to have leaders that can lead in this new era.
Absolutely.
Because the leaders that have led well over here, that was their purpose, to lead well here. We're not there anymore. So those old paradigms are not going to work. I know I keep saying it over and over, but that way of thinking, that way of doing things, that it's like the rules of the game have completely changed.
Either go with the flow or get out of the way.
You have to be willing to change and just recognize we're in a new way of living. And so the key, because we can talk all day on that, but the key is to truly be discerning and sensitive to God's leading. It's where before it was almost a little easier path because there were certain things set in order that were. So you didn't have to guess. You just knew it was this way and this way. So you could kind of, it was like walking a well-lit street sometimes. Even if you weren't so in tune to the moving of the Spirit, things were already set, so you just kind of walk that path and you were okay. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's like walking down a dark alley with no light. So
You have to be
we
that.
have to be sensitive now. We have to follow the leading of God. To find success, or we're going to find devastation. We're going to be knocked around until we do understand that we have to be led by the Spirit in this new era, because it's a new era. We are there. We are there. We are there. We changed. We have changed. America has changed, but the world has changed.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely shifted. Everything's changed. So it's kind of scary and exciting because we're the pioneers.
With what you're saying, it kind of makes me think, and this is just in the realm of technology, it makes me think about how it used to be that we had to have a telephone on our kitchen wall. We had to have a vehicle, because horse and buggy was done away with.
Yeah.
And then eventually it was so important that you had, it was the thing to have a television in your home.
Yeah.
That was the way it was.
Yeah.
But now that's almost obsolete. We all have to have vehicles still. Some of us still have a landline, but now it's like,
Hardly anybody. Yeah.
yeah, we evolved to having to. I mean, you just have to have a cell phone.
Yeah.
And you have to have internet. That's your car. That's your vehicle to get from here to there anymore. And now it's not just a cell phone. Almost everybody to really make strides, you have to have a smartphone. So it's this evolution of stuff that has to be. It's not a luxury anymore. It's a have to. It's essential for your business to survive, to keep up with. You're not just keeping up for pleasure. You're having to keep up for necessity. You have to have internet to be able to function with your business. A lot of times with your home, and a lot of times. Most people have some form of a home business.